Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I'm Dava Haley Mitchell, and I am honored to be here with you today, along with a woman that I admire a lot, which is Grandmother Flor de Mayo. We're going to be doing a session on the power and wisdom of your divine feminine. So for those of you who are not familiar with Flor de Mayo, let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a founding member of the Church of the Spiritual Path, the Confederation of Indigenous Elders of America, also the Institute of Natural and Traditional Knowledge, as well as the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. She also recently founded The Path as a 501c3 organization. Congratulations on that, Flor de Mayo. And it's just wonderful to have her back. I have had the honor of working with Flor de Mayo over the years and have even assisted in some of her courses. And she is really a fountain of wisdom and love and inspiration. And I think you will agree once you get to spend a little time with her here. So welcome to you, Flor de Mayo. I know you were going to start out with a prayer or a blessing to get us started. So let's begin with that.
Beloved masters of the universe, beloved beauty, beloved mother, thank you for this beautiful, beautiful moment in which you have brought us together, each and every one of us, from the four directions. I greet you this morning, beloved mother. You are the mother and the father, the creator of all things. Spirit of the sacred earth, spirit of the sacred wind, spirit of the sacred fire, spirit of the sacred water. Beloved mother, thank you. On this sacred day, at this very, very moment, beloved Creator, is a day in which we honor those things, those offerings, the love that we bring to you. As we come to you, in the sacredness of our temple. And we ask of you, beloved mother, I have an offering for you on this particular day. And I ask of you to share some of your sacred wisdom, allowing me to hold in my heart that connection between us and your beloved beauty. On this sacred day, beloved mother, I give this offering to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Flor de Mayo. What a beautiful way to start our session. So let's begin with this theme that we're working with today on feminine wisdom, and maybe you can define what that means from your Indigenous lens.
I'd like to express myself in the way that I have been raised and in the way that I have walked with my teacher, Don Alejandro. Much blessings to all of the teachers of the world as I honor him at this very, very moment. After my mother passed away, I had in my prayers asking the universe to bring a teacher to me, a physical being that I can sit in dialogue and further understand my path, my purpose. And most of all, I've been very, very interested in knowing about my ancestry, as at the time I was a woman here in the United States at this moment. And so one of the things that Don Alejandro, my teacher, in becoming the priestess, in doing our sacred walk, in the procedure of receiving your sacred bundle, of becoming the priestess, one of the things that we had to do was exactly what the word says. It says in Spanish, it's called la caminada, which means the walk. And so we would prepare to take these journeys. And it was a physical, very, very physical journey through Central America, not only in Guatemala, but in other areas of Central America. And I was reminded this morning as I sat in meditation at 2:00 in the morning, and I was thinking, what is it that I can express about this question of how do we find our feminine power, and how is it that that I can express this as a woman, as from Central America. Don Alejandro would say to us that we are walking to these places, and there were quite a few. There were places that are known as the places of the goddess. And so one of the places, for example, was down in a ravine that had a waterfall. And another place was at the top of, at the mountain where there was a huge, huge boulder. The boulder, was maybe the size of a house. And then there was another place that was in this sacred cave. And so we walked through the cities and through the towns, through the woods, through the, any kind of difficult place that it would take you to these sacred sites. In this particular walk, you knew that you were going there, but you did not know exactly where it was or where it would be. And we would start perhaps maybe by taking public transportation. And keeping that in mind, that you were coming to meet the goddess, whether she was at the waterfall or whether she was at the top of the mountain, or perhaps maybe she is in the cave. You go into this place of just wondering and thinking what it would be to feel the goddess, or to see her, or to even to the point of thinking that you can touch the goddess. And so you would go into this place of prayer and wonderment, and you become a child because you have no idea of where you're going. You've never been there in that particular place of the country. And everything that you see, it is in anticipation. And so through this anticipation and the desire, somehow you have the energy to keep on going, and you start looking at everything and focusing on everything through your physical eyes, and you are listening with your ears, simply because perhaps maybe it will be something that you might have to share. And this way you have a good memory of what it was that you saw, or what it was that you heard, or perhaps maybe that you touched, that you might have seen. And so it becomes an awareness of all of your senses. And behind all of that, you have the joy in your heart, and the feeling of love, and the feeling of trust, that here you are in this in these places at different times of your sacred walk. The sacred walk takes 2 years from start to finish, and you go to 13 sacred temples within this walk. And it is called, the walk, it's called in Spanish, La Vara. And the word vara is like a walking staff, except that you don't have a physical walking staff with you. You're walking. And as you are walking, you are, I believe in my heart that we are told at some point that if you saw the coral seeds, these are the colorines, to pick them up and to hold them. These are the oracle seeds. So on this journey, you walk through wherever you are walking through. And of course, these coral trees, you even see them in populated towns. So you have to keep your eyes open. And it's kind of like you go into this slow motion where your eyes are capturing in extreme detail everything that you see, the people, the town, the plants, the trees, the flowers, the noises that you hear, the language, the animals, the birds, all that you hear. You become overly sensitive to everything that is around you. And so you become this observant, kind of like a human camera that is stopping with every blink of the eye. And this blink of the eye is being, all this information is being put somewhere in that space of memory, so that you can come back and close your eyes and look at absolute detail of what you witness. And so everything around you starts to look surreal, as if you are physically looking at it. But if you gaze at it, it'll start to change. And it'll start, if you focus on listening, the hearing becomes a little more acute. And of course, if you're looking at something, the vision could translate it into something else.
Wow. I love hearing these stories, Flor de Mayo, and it's amazing that you spent 2 years in this way. I'm wondering, for women who are, hearing this and are inspired and want to connect in their own lives to the sacred feminine, what you might offer to them as the easiest pathway to really connect on a deeper level.
I think that the best way for people to do it in this busy Western environment is to look at their everyday life in this way, to be intentionally slowing their moment to moment, split moment to split moment, everyday life in capturing everything that is around you. And you know, in reality, our lives are a sacred walk. Because when I look back to those 2 years, when I look back and I think about doing this, I had to go through places that were intimidating, that were challenging, that I did not understand, where I was, I was brought to moments of exhaustion, where I was brought to moments of, I did not know if I was hungry or not hungry. I did not know what time it was, other than just looking at the sun and maybe thinking that it might be this hour or that hour. So through this walk, I was able to put myself in a place of absolute trust in myself, that I had done my prayers and that I felt the okay to do this, to feel the confidence in myself to do this, to know that my teacher was walking in front of me, and to know that I had to go into a place of trust. To trust that if he said to me, we're going to be at the site in 8 hours, that I could not think it's going to be nighttime, or it's going to be, you know, raining, or we're going into a storm. I couldn't think about these things. I can only think of the surrender, the just complete surrendering at that moment. And so it gave me the capacity to trust fervently with my decision. And not only that, but also to know that I can trust my teacher, and to know that that in his divine masculine, that I can trust that that we were going to go to a place of meeting the goddess, and going into this sacred dance, him with the goddess, myself with the goddess, where we would bring ourselves and give ourselves totally to that experience, him in his way of his traditional Mayan way, me in my way of a young woman of Central America who had been exposed to the Western world, a married woman with 2 kids, and how do we surrender? and bring your family into this surrendering. And we think about our children and think about our husbands that we had left behind. And here we are in the middle of, the absolute wild. And to go into this place of prayer and absolute trust and receive the transmissions from the holy ones, the Holy Mother.
The thing I loved about what you're just saying, Flor de Maya, was that, each person, whether they are on some sort of sacred pilgrimage or in their everyday lives, can really treat, their daily life as their version of a walk, and a place where we all need to find surrender and to really slow down in the midst of a very busy life, especially those of us in the West. It can be so fast. And so, as you're saying, I found on my spiritual path also just the slowing down, and that there's so many messages, as you said, available if you are really taking the time to listen and to be available. And I know that you offer so many different practices and prayers and meditations. And I know for women that are in the Western walk, having those kind of practices that invite us to slow down and tune in to that wisdom are so helpful. So maybe you could guide us into a practice where people can glean some of that wisdom right now for their own lives.
Let's think of a place in which we feel really, really comfortable, where we could sit down and just be still at this very, very moment. I'm going to share with you the beautiful, beautiful it's known as the waterfall of the goddess, and it is in a ravine. And if we can think of first being at the top of this mountaintop, and if we could see little shrubbery with a little tiny little road that you can only walk with your feet, one foot in front of the other, that's the only path that we have. And the only way that you can hold on to your steps so that you don't slip and fall is either to hold on to the shrubbery or to get down really, really low, almost on your rear end, so that you can glide and slide yourself down into this ravine. And if we can envision ourselves as we move about into this sacred place, we concentrate on our breath, inhaling and exhaling, feeling the road underneath us, the Mother Earth, the little pebbles on our hands, the shrubbery as we move about, maneuvering ourselves on this tiny, tiny little path. And we can think of nothing other than just the movement of our bodies. And to be very careful that this little path is like our own lives in so many ways. Because as humans, the lives, our own personal lives, are difficult ones to maneuver on a moment-to-moment basis. we just think of the moment, moving about this tiny, tiny little path. Concentrating on our breath. And before we know it, we could see that the path is beginning to widen a little bit. And at this moment, you can feel both of your feet on the path. And you begin to straighten your body a little bit, coming into a position of almost kneeling. And you start to straighten your body a little bit more. And you feel that you can move a little bit better. And you feel that you can straighten your back a little bit more. At this moment, your hands are on each side of your body. You start to hear the waterfall. And you feel the breeze, the wind. And perhaps maybe you'll feel a little sprinkle of water hitting you on the face or in your hair. And you're thinking about your steps. And before you know it, the road has widened up and you're stepping on sand. And you feel that you are totally erected. Your body is standing fully straight. And you look and you gaze in front of you. And there is an opening, an oblong opening that it is very, very narrow. And it is in a sacred shape. It is in the shape of the feminine genitalia. And you open both of your hands and you start to touch the walls before you enter. You start to breathe and you receive this sacred scent. And the scent is of copal that had been burnt. And you touch the walls and you ask for permission. And you say, beloved goddess, may I have permission to enter into your sacred space. And as you stand outside, moving your hands up and down so that you are one with this stone. And in moving around, you are trying to maneuver yourself to go into the crevice of this opening. And when you walk inside, everything is dark. Your hands are extended and you are touching the walls on the inside. And you close your eyes and you go into this spontaneous prayer, spontaneous crying, and you beg the beloved goddess to bless you. That you had made this journey to receive her blessings. That you and her are one. in that area of her womb, that place in which the seeds of life are kept, where you become one with the Blessed One, allowing yourself to open up to receive her blessings. And you touch the walls and you start to cry and you feel the vibration of her being moving from the top of your head, moving through the crown of your head, coming down your face, the back of your head, down into your shoulders, your chest, the back of your back, your arms, your elbows, your waist, the front of your arms, your hands, your stomach, your lower back, your legs, your knees, your lower legs, and down into your feet. And you feel this movement of light going through your body from head to toe, moving in a sacred circle of light between you and the walls of this sacred stone, this sacred entrance, this entrance of where the goddess dwells. And you are one with her. And she embraces you. She embraces you in such a way that you become this little teeny weeny, little tiny, tiny little person in her arms. And she is holding you there, where you and her simultaneously breathe, inhaling and exhaling, surrounded by the sacred scent, the scent of the offering of Copal. You are one with the scent. You are one with the goddess. And you are able to witness the beauty of the light within you, the beauty of the light within the cave. And your eyes have now witnessed the beauty of that light. And you are one with all that there is. Mm-hmm. 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 You are the light, and you could see between here and the infinite. You are one with the light.
Thank you, Flor de Mayo. This is so beautiful. be in this place. And as we're coming towards the end of our time, maybe you can gently bring us back out of this incredible cave space, bringing all the blessings with us.
So at this particular time, we open our eyes, our physical eyes, and we could look around at everything that's around us, wherever we are at the moment, and know in your heart that at any time you could go to this particular place of the goddess or some other place of your choice, whether at the mountaintop or in a cave, under a waterfall, however it is that you would like to journey. The beauty of it is to do it, to just do it. Concentrate on your breath and open your mouth when you exhale. Feel your feet on the ground. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Embrace your belly button and feel that cord. You've come back.
Thank you, Flor de Mayo. So powerful. And I hope other people got to receive some blessing energy and perhaps some wisdom, some insight. I feel like there's so much that can be revealed in that sacred space. And I wanted to let people know that I feel like what we just got a little taste of was some of the, what you call the sacraments of spiritual life. And for those who are interested in journeying deeper with Flor de Mayo, I wanted to let you know that there is a beautiful offering that she's created that you can step into. It's called the Grandmother's Wisdom Circle, Healing, Prayer, Ceremony, and the Art of Sacred Living. And in this program, you instruct people how to open their heart and move through 7 different sacraments of spiritual life. And I feel like we just touched into a few of these first sacraments. The first being prayer and renewing our vows with the Creator. So I feel like the prayer that you opened with is so beautiful and kind of took us a little bit into that sacred space that you create. And then the second is ceremony and nurturing the divine within through ceremony. And I feel like we also just co-created a ceremonial space. So maybe you could just share with us a little bit more about some of these other sacraments that include, healing and forgiveness is one, and getting guidance is another. And for those who want to connect more with that, maybe you could share what is involved in that program if they want to continue this walk with you in particular.
Well, these sacraments I put together from my journeys of a few decades with my beloved teacher. And I had thought about the different ways in which we need to honor. And it just allows us to get out of our everyday mundane life with all of the responsibilities that we have. I can look back because when I was going through the beginning of my walk, I was a mom. I was not a grandma yet. And also I continued as I was traveling with thinking about my grandchildren, taking care of my grandchildren. So I'm speaking from personal experience of being a housewife, being busy, multitasking, doing, quite a bit of things. And then somehow we become older, and you can look back at these things like a grandmother, and you can see how these different steps are very needed and very powerful for our sacred journey, our walk, our connection with God, and staying in touch with all the beauty that is around us, all of the divine and the great mystery.
So who chooses to tap in with you here, they'll get to spend 90 minutes in each of these different aspects. So if anyone wants to check it out, you can look to this website, which is grandmotherswisdomcircle.com, grandmotherswisdomcircle.com. And as you scroll down, you'll see the different modules that are involved. And so there's a module on prayer, renewing your vows with the Creator. There's a module on ceremony, nurturing the divine within through ceremony. Then you go into healing, going deep into the heart to sow seeds of forgiveness. Then there's a fourth module on guidance, centering yourself to access the ever-present guidance. And then there's two modules which are connected to the Mayan wisdom. You do one module on embodying the spirit of feminine energy, and then one on Mayan wisdom and the wisdom of the cosmic charts. We didn't go so deeply into the Mayan whole system in this call, but maybe you could just give a tiny blueprint for people who aren't as familiar with that of the Mayan calendar and some of what is explored through those modules.
I speak very, I'm trying to think of the word here, in a way that would be simple. The day keepers, the Mayan day keepers, it's a very, very much of a lifetime way of doing things. And I am not a day keeper, but I explain a little bit in the best way that I can about the calendar, about the days, the energies, and what it brings to us every 20 days. If that is something where people might be looking for guidance. For example, in the beginning here with this talk, I mentioned that today is the day in which we bring offerings to our beloved Creator. We bring offerings to our altar. It's a day in which we give to the invisible beings. And the name for that is Toch. And so I talk about the different days and how we use them and how we apply them in our everyday life. In Central America, the day keepers spend generations. It's handed down from generation to generation, and children are taught very much when they're very, very young. They're taught the calendar. So it gets it can get very extensive. And I'm not a mathematician. I'm a woman of visions and dreams and woman of prayer. I'm a seer. And so when I think of the days, I go into that space of slowing all of my senses, my sight, my ears, my breath. I slow everything down as minutely as I can so that I can experience everything that is around me. And so this is the way that I do my sacred work.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I was just noticing too that when people connect to this course, they also have access to a beautiful 5-session audio training that you did on bringing the spirit of shamanism into your everyday life. So I feel like people can really get a great taste here of participating in the 7 modules. They get this audio training, and then also a series of audio meditations. Your meditations for the soul is something that's offered. So for people who are feeling drawn to this indigenous path and to this Mayan path, and specifically with Flor de Mayo, this is a great way to dive in and connect and have a robust place where you can do that. So again, if you want to learn more about this program, you can go to grandmotherswisdomcircle.com, grandmotherswisdomcircle.com, and you can learn more about this offering. And then if you feel inspired, you can just sign up right there and you will get immediate access to that program. So with that, I just want to turn it back to you, Flor de Mayo, and see if there's any closing words you want to offer to our listeners and those who are interested in this path of feminine wisdom.
I think that one of the things that we should have in mind is to go in a place of absolute surrender and don't have any preconceptions of what's going to happen. Because it really is up to the divine and our sacred dance between ourselves and God. And so, don't think about anything. Just let things happen as they will happen. And when they do happen, be appreciative and don't forget to say your words of gratitude or sing a song, however it is that you want to show your gratefulness. But it has nothing to do with anything that you're going to know what you're going to experience. It's kind of like we're surrendering to the great mystery at the moment.
Blessed be the gift of surrendering into the mystery. Well, thank you, Flor de Mayo, for this time. Thank you for taking us into the mystery so beautifully, where we could follow in your footsteps of going into that sacred cave of the feminine. And just thank you for the walk you've done and for the light you are holding for the rest of us to take our own walks in the midst of our daily lives, and for your ongoing guidance and inspiration. It's always a joy to connect with you. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you to you. Thank you.
Blessing.
Love and light. Thank you.